Blue Jays one strike away from the World Championship. The 0-2 pitch. Slap to the left side, a hit. Bowser's being waved in. Maldonado's throw is over everything. It's a tie ball game.
Oh, no. Could it be happening again? Was history coming back to haunt the Blue Jays?
We've gone through some very tough stages where pitching died. Then we got stages where the offense has died. But I think each time it's happened like that, we didn't look at it like, oh gosh, here we go, we're gonna start falling now. We just kept it going and just kept on working hard, and to me, that shows a sign of a true champion.
2-2 the score with 2 men on, 2 outs. The runners go on the 3-2 to Winfield. Down the line, a base hit into the left field corner. White has scored. Alomar comes around. The ball gets away from Gant. It's a 2-run double for Dave Winfield. And a 4-2 Toronto lead.
I wish that there had been someone around on opening day just to see how focused this team was on what they wanted to do. And they have not stopped from day one.
Mike Timlin saved only 1 game this year. Now he's on to save the biggest win in Toronto Blue Jay history. With a tying run at third and 2 down in the bottom of the 11th. 4-3 Blue Jays. Timlin. Nixon bunts. Timlin on it. Throws to first. For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border. The Toronto Blue Jays are baseball's best in 1992.
Oh, Canada, the story of the 1992 World Champion Blue Jays. When the Blue Jays came to Dunedin, Florida last spring, they were, like any team coming off a division-winning season, a blend of cool and confidence.
Man in pain.
And they had a lineup any team would envy. Roberto Alomar at second base and Joe Carter in right field made up the core. Then in the offseason came a couple of old pros. There was Dave Winfield, coming off an 86 RBI season with the Angels. And former Twin Jack Morris, hero of the 91 World Series.
I want to be a part of a winning situation, and I think that this team was as close as you can get without being there. And I think that myself and a guy like Jack Morris, just coming off a World Series championship, we have a lot to offer, a lot to add.
I know there's a lot of talent over here. My hope is that we can all kind of blend together the way we did in Minnesota and a couple years over in Detroit and have that camaraderie that helps you have fun at the game. When you have fun at the game, winning seems to come easier.
And winning was definitely on the Blue Jays' minds when the team headed north. Opening day in Detroit. Right off the bat, the veteran newcomers took charge. Dave Winfield smacked 3 hits, and one-time Tiger Jack Morris cruised against his former team. Morris got plenty of support. Pat Borders doing his best to help the cause.
To right field and deep, back to the wall and gone. It's 2-0 Toronto.
It was 4-2 Toronto in the bottom of the 9th when Morris finished them off.
Fryman ground ball Gruber. This should do it. And Oru digs it out, and Jack Morris has his first win as a Toronto Blue Jay.
Jack did exactly what it took to get us off to a great start, and we end up, sweeping those 3 games and come back here and sweeping Baltimore. So, he got us off to that great start. He kind of set the tone for the whole season.
Down, and that'll do it. The Blue Jays are now 5-0, and they make it 2 in a row over the Orioles.
the big one. No, breaking ball, strike 3, got it. Now the Blue Jays have won a club record 6 straight to start their season, as they sweep the Orioles, a 3-game series here at the Sky Dome.
What a start. 6 straight wins, an April record of 16-7, and 2 games in front. The Blue Jays were rolling, and so was Dave Winfield. Off to a hot start, he hit .375 in April and gave the Blue Jays the designated hitter they'd been looking for. To Toronto, Winfield was Mr. Everything. And when the Blue Jays were down, like in this May 7th game in Seattle, they knew who to turn to for help.
This was a game Seattle was beating us. We were down by 4 runs going into the last. I just kind of looked at it and said, if I get up, I have a chance to win the game, but there'll have to be 2 outs and the bases loaded, and that's what materialized.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Slider belted deep to left field. Metro to the track, to the wall. Grand salami time. Toronto leads it 8-7. Unbelievable.
I think it was the 10th grand slam I've hit in my career. Other people have hit more, but it was a real significant one. And to be able to come back from that deficit, that was one of the games during the course of the year that the guys felt that we can come back in any time and win.
With that kind of confidence, the Blue Jays felt they were never behind the 8 ball. And at the end of May, they showed why, pulling out 5 straight wins in their last at-bat.
We have a scoreless tie here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Alomar gave this a charge to left field. It's way back and gone. Home run, Roberto Alomar. Alomar gets it. Jays lead 1-0.
Here is Lance Johnson. He pops it up for Gruber on the warning track, makes the catch, and there's the ball game. The Blue Jays win it 3-0.
The winning run is at second base with 2 down here in the 11th inning. The 2-2 pitch to Kent. Line drive to left. Moving over Abner, running. It's over his head. It goes to the wall, and Gruber scores to win it 2-1.
2-2 tie. Bottom of the 9th, 2 out. Gruber at second and Olerud at first.
The pitch. A swing and a line drive, base hit to left field. Here comes Gruber. Here comes a range throw. A slide. Safe! The Blue Jays win. Greg Myers out of sick bay with the game winner. Final in this one, 3-2.
10th inning for the Blue Jays. Fly ball, left center. Will it fall in? Yes, it does, and it bounces over the head of Kirby Puckett. He's headed for the wall. White's headed for third. He's running hard. He may score. Devon White hustling to home plate. An in-the-park home run, and the Blue Jays lead 4-3. Team's won 4 straight in its last at-bat. Perhaps number 5 tonight. Ground ball up the middle. Puckett charging it hard. Up with the ball. Borders is headed home. The throw. Borders is safe. A 2-run lead for the Toronto Blue Jays at 7-5.
Winning the hard way was doing wonders for Toronto's confidence. So was coming to Yankee Stadium in early June with an offense that was pumped up and raring to go. Everyone got in on the act in blowing away the Yankees in Game 1. But the next night belonged to the strongman, Candy Maldonado, who produced a rare Yankee Stadium treat.
It was Team Larry pitching. It was fastball over the plate. And adios.
Hit way up in the air to center. Roberto Kelly is going back, and it's gone. Home run, Candy Maldonado. That's a long shot to center.
It felt great because I knew it was a bomb.
After he found out that I had never been up in that black area, I'd been upper deck, getting way back in other places, but never into that black area, the black hole in center field, and it took a monstrous shot to do it. He gives us one of these numbers about his biceps, and takes a strong man to get up there.
The Candyman became only the 6th player to reach the center field bleachers at Yankee Stadium. He was also becoming a busier left fielder, what with rookie Derek Bell on the sidelines.
I had told him that Derek was probably going to play most of the time, and I'd get him in there when I could. And I think he was a little bit worried about not performing, and of course Derek was out a month, so it gave Kenny time enough to pull himself together and get himself together, and it turned out pretty good for us.
So did playing the Yankees. Toronto swept them. And then on June 11th, came home one game in front of the pack. They had to face the Red Sox and their redoubtable Roger Clemens. And that was hardly a pleasing prospect.
That was a pretty big game for us because we hadn't beaten Clemens too many times, and he comes in here, I believe it was the first game that we had played them. And, it was a 4-game series, and Boston was looking to make up some ground because they were, kind of reeling at the time.
Once Joe Carter dropped this bomb on Clemens in the 3rd inning, Boston would be reeling even more.
3-1 pitch and high in the air. This one's way back and gone. Home run, Joe Carter.
Carter's blast put Toronto up 2-0 and led the way as the Blue Jays jumped all over Clemens. Not once, not twice, but 3 times in all. Finally, Winfield's 8th inning homer put a 4-0 lead into the hands of Toronto ace Jack Morris, who outpitched Clemens with a brilliant 4-hitter. With the win, Morris ran his record to 7-3. He was winning big in the first half, and so was Juan Guzman. At 25, he was fast becoming one of the league's dominating pitchers, winning 11 of his first 13 decisions.
When this season started off, the 2 guys that really were carrying the load were really Juan Guzman and Jack Morris.
We have a very talented staff. Juan Guzman has done a remarkable job again this year.
We didn't think at the end of last season that Juan was certainly a flash in the pan. He was a guy that all of a sudden he found his release point.
Juan Guzman is really starting to become so popular that people are saying, yeah, I got tickets to the Guzman start.
This kid's got great stuff.
Big pitch. Got it. He just reared back and blew it by it.
Certainly one of the best talents in the American League so far.
He got good stuff. When you throw 95, 98 miles per hour, you don't have to worry about nothing. All you have to do is strikes.
There's strikeout number 5, and Guzman's now tied for the American League lead with Clemens. 3 up and 3 down, and a great start for Guzman. Watch this. Ground ball, knocked down somehow by Guzman.
What a performance by Guzman.
Yeah, I got tickets to see Guzman.
Of course, when pitchers needed help, their friends were always there. Indeed, the Jays had the earmarks of a champion. Pitching and defense. 1 and 1 equal 2 in a big, big way.
I mean, as far as the plays behind you, I mean, those come every night. I mean, it doesn't matter, you go from a catcher. Pat Borders making, some great stops and, balls in the dirt to Joe. Devon shaking something down. Candy or Robbie, and these guys diving for stuff, or John Olwood even diving for stuff. I mean, the plays are endless with this team because you got such a talented team out there.
Where the ball is gone. Maldonado running hard. Nice play by Manny Lee. Hot smash right to the shortstop, Lee. Oh, my, what a double play.
Gruber flags it brilliantly and throws him out.
Runners going. Ground ball. Alomar shovels for 1. Back to first. What a double play.
Well hit. Devon White going way back and backhands it. Oh, great play by Devon White.
Defense came to the rescue in this Canada Day game against Texas. With the score tied in the 10th and the bases loaded, Dwayne Ward delivered.
Palmero ready, and Ward with the 2-1 pitch. Line toward the gap in left center field. Bell in a hurry, and he runs it down. Great running catch by Derek Bell. The Rangers leave the bases full in the 10th inning, do not score.
Greg Myers made him pay in the last of the 10th.
He wants him to bunt. No bunt here. Drive to the gap in left center. That's going to go to the wall. Derek Bell being waved around third, and the Blue Jays win it.
What a way to jumpstart July. An extra inning victory at home and 7 more wins in a row. Toronto's longest winning streak in 5 years.
And that's the ball game. Tom Hankey gets to save number 200. Up the middle, base hit. Ducey's around third. The Blue Jays win the ball game.
Back to the 2-2 battle with his hitter. Devon White tracking back, makes the catch, a complete game shutout for Jimmy Key.
There goes Alomar. Hit into left field, base hit from Maldonado, and the Blue Jays win the ball game. Alomar took off, Maldonado got the hit, and the Jays have won 8 in a row.
With all the momentum on their side, the Blue Jays marched into the All-Star break with a 4-game lead and a tie for the best record in the majors. But Toronto would have to put its momentum on hold while baseball packed up for San Diego. It was All-Star time, and for 3 Blue Jays, a proud night. Making the most of his first appearance as an All-Star, Juan Guzman pitched a scoreless inning of relief. And being at this All-Star game was a special thrill for ex-Padres Joe Carter and Roberto Alomar.
Okay, which side you hitting better from?
Right side.
Right?
366, right-handed.
Uh-oh. So I should shade you to pull this.
It was a great feeling, I think so. You always remember where you came from the first time, where you played the first game in the big leagues. And I was real happy to go back to San Diego and see some of the friends.
We were very happy. I mean, I could not have pictured a better scenario. You know, being traded from San Diego, and then my first All-Star game was right here in Toronto, hometown. And then the second All-Star game was in San Diego, where you just came from. I mean, I had a lot of friends and family there who we wanted to go back and see. My kids enjoyed it. My wife enjoyed it. Everything was great about it. And for us to play, myself and Roberto to play, you know, in front of our, you know, ex-hometown fans was quite a thrill. And then for both of us to start, I mean, that was also a dream come true. We were out there. We had a great time. We, you know, put together 7 hits there in the first inning. Robbie stole 2 bases in the second inning to tie the Major League record. So we enjoyed it, and we had a great time there.
For Padres fans, seeing some old favorites may have felt like old times. But to grateful Blue Jays fans, Alomar and Carter were bringing Toronto the best of times.
The one thing about Joe and Robbie, the thing you can say about both of them is that they enjoy playing baseball. And you can watch them on the field. These guys enjoy playing baseball. They're having fun doing it. Unfortunately, sometimes in a particular occupation, people don't all the time enjoy their occupation, but they do. And I think that rubs off on the other players, and the fans, I think, recognize right away that these guys have fun playing baseball.
In Alomar, the Blue Jays have an outstanding second baseman who many say has become the best all-around player in the league.
Well, what can you say about Robbie? Robbie's just an all-around great player, not only as far as his offense. Early in the year, he picked us up a lot of times, big hits, big 2-out hits, big win-and-run hits, great plays, loves to play the game.
Day in, day out, he's given more than anybody else on the team. He makes the tough plays, and he gives 100% of his body, too. He never dogs it. he must have a real tough mental approach to the game. He's real tough mentally, I guess, because he comes out there and he's there to play every day very hard.
No one appreciates Alomar's contributions more than those who play with him day in and day out.
He's getting better and better with age. And, you know, being 24 years old and, you know, already had 4 years up under your belt and, you know, 3 years an all-star, I mean, the guy's just going to get better and better. You say Roberto Alomar and you put 3 dots beside it, you know, for infinity. He just keeps going on and on.
Here's Alomar. That's why he's an all-star.
Alomar goes out and just cranks this one.
There goes Alomar. Takes it to second safely.
Put 3 dots beside Joe Carter, and you get a player of unlimited talents, one who loves to play the game. But if anyone thought having fun and playing hard don't mix, consider Carter's 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, year in and year out.
You want steady? You talk about Joe Carter. You want 100 RBIs? You want 25, 30 home runs? That's no easy task year after year. Whether someone's hitting behind him or in front of him or not, he'll get it done.
As the big 3 and 4 hitters in the lineup, Carter and Winfield see a little bit of one in the other.
When I looked at him from a distance before I knew him that well, he reminded me, if I can say, a lot of me. Just his style on the field. We both played the same positions. We kind of reacted to the ball, offensively or defensively, in the same way.
I do see a lot of myself in him and the things that we do. We both try to go out there, we stay healthy, we keep ourselves in good shape. We go out there, we play the game hard, we have fun doing what we do. It's not like a job to us. It's like, you know, like little kids at Christmas time, you know, with some brand new toys. Every day we're out there, you know, the fun, the excitement, trying to get the fans pumped up, trying to get our players pumped up, the teammates. We try to lead by example and not just by word of mouth.
Make no mistake about it, in the case of Joe Carter, he leads the Blue Jays every which way. As great a year as Carter was having, he and the Blue Jays slumped after the All-Star break. On August 4th, they hit a real low when a muscle pull in Juan Guzman's back put him out of action for 15 days. The Blue Jays staggered through the month. On August 10th, their lead was down to 2 games, and the second-place Orioles were in town. Suddenly, pennant race was on everybody's minds.
You see the Sky Dome. The Orioles and the Toronto Blue Jays are about to have at it. The first series of the year that starts feeling like a pennant race is underway.
With the pressure on, the Blue Jays went to the long ball. In Game 1, they got home runs from the usual power sources: Joe Carter, Candy Maldonado, and Dave Winfield. Each of them hit a 2-run homer, and Todd Stottlemyre kept up his career hex on the Orioles, pitching 7 strong innings and beating them for the 6th straight time.
And so, Toronto is 3 up on the Orioles as they clobbered the Orioles and deflated the Orioles Express. And Toronto, by virtue of that, is 1 up in this series.
But in the next 2 games, the Blue Jays got clobbered themselves, shut out in one and outscored in the other 11-4. And the lead was down to 1 game. Looking to regain their winning perspective in Game 4, Joe Carter cut loose for the 3rd time in 4 days. His 26th homer put the Orioles behind early. What's more, they were positively stymied by Doug Linton, who was in the midst of a brilliant first Major League start.
Fastball is bounced up the middle. Roberto Alomar up with it. And Doug Linton has now retired 15 consecutive Oriole hitters.
Linton allowed 3 hits in 8 innings, good enough to collect his first souvenir as a major leaguer and put the Blue Jays 2 games in front. Linton's debut turned out to be a bright spot in an otherwise bleak stretch for the pitchers, who were going through a bad time. And as the pennant race wore on, the Blue Jays had reason to worry. But on August 27th, General Manager Pat Gillick gave the pitching staff just the lift it needed when he snagged one of the top pitchers in the National League, the Mets' David Cone.
Believe it or not, about 2 or 3 days before it happened, we were sitting on the bench. I can't remember exactly where we were at, but I was talking with a few of the players, and I was saying the 2 best pitchers in the National League are the 2 best pitchers I thought had the best stuff in baseball, which 1, Denny Martinez, and 2 was David Cone. And I didn't think anything else about it. And when I came to the ballpark, I came a little bit early that day, and one of the guys down up under the tunnel said, did I hear about the trade? I go, no, what trade? He said, we just acquired David Cone. And I went, who? I was like, no way, we just got David Cone? They said, yeah, for Jeff Kennett, play to be named later. And from that moment on, it's like I walked up the steps and I didn't even remember touching the steps. You know, because I was just so excited to be talking about the guy 2 days before, and now all of a sudden he's on our ball club.
In reality, this is an extremely excellent opportunity for me to be, you know, here on a great team and a great organization, a city that's really hungry to win, and a team that has a good chance to win. And you know, I'm very fortunate to be here.
It showed what the organization was made of. They're not afraid to go out there and spend some money to get what they needed. And right then, we needed a big boost. And going out there and getting David Cone just solidified the whole ball of wax for us.
Cone spent his first night as a Blue Jay sitting in the dugout, watching the team try to snap out of its slump. But there was nothing the Coneheads or anybody else could do against Robin Yount and the still pressing Milwaukee Brewers, who were about to take on Jimmy Key.
All the indications are in for a low-scoring ball game tonight. You got Jimmy Key, so Jimmy is the key for the Blue Jays tonight, and Cone may be the savior when he gets his first start tomorrow.
But the Brewers had something entirely different in mind for this particular night, one the Blue Jays would just as soon forget.
Base hit number 23, number 24, that was number 25. This is really painful, folks. 27 hits. Make it 28. That's the 29th hit. Make it 30 hits. That is the American League record. All time here tonight. 31 hits by one team in one game. 31 hits are the record the Jays would like to forget, but it'll stand forever. They lose 22-2.
It's in the books. You come back out tomorrow afternoon and see what David Cone could do against the Milwaukee Brewers.
But getting his feet wet as a Blue Jay was more like a drowning. Cone walked 7 and allowed 7 stolen bases. Still, the game might have been an omen, because it marked the last time the Blue Jays would lose twice in a row. By the time the Brewers left town, the Blue Jays' lead over Baltimore was down to a game and a half. The good news was that August was mercifully coming to a close. But August might have gone a lot worse were it not for Jack Morris's 5-1 record. Even in pennant race time, he's a man who never gets rattled.
Pressure is something that I'm sure is out there somewhere, but I haven't really looked at it too much, because I found out at an early age that in our profession, just like in any other profession in life, all you can do is give it your best, and you're the only one that really knows what that is. And whatever other people expect of you is irrelevant, because you know in your own heart, in your own mind, that that was the best I had, win or lose. And it's easy for you to go to bed at night knowing that that was your best effort.
He's the type of guy that goes out there, he gives you innings, he never gives in to the hitters, extremely aggressive. If there's a prototypical starting pitcher today that you'd want to pattern a young pitcher out of, it would be follow Jack Morris.
Winning makes the summer go by fast, and you smile a lot. And every time I'm on a quality team, a team that can win, I tend to smile a lot more. It's enjoyable.
Nothing was more enjoyable than seeing Dave Winfield's clutch bat turn him into Mr. August.
Here is the designated hitter, Dave Winfield. He has had a very good season for these Toronto Blue Jays and has displayed that style and class of a winner.
has picked up 3 RBIs on the 3-run home run, and he's set a Blue Jay club record with 32 runs batted in the month of August.
We needed someone to emerge and make some things happen. We didn't play good baseball in August, and without the runs driven in, I don't know what position we would have been in today, but it was a significant month and one of my better RBI months.
His numbers aside, Winfield was a true leader in Toronto, guiding the fans with whom he had a symbiotic relationship and the players.
He's really not 40 years old. You know, it's just an age factor. But right now, he probably feels about 28, 29 years old and feel that he can play another 4 or 5 years.
When Winfield wanted the fans at Skydome to make more noise, they were only too happy to oblige.
Late in the year, I noted, in fact, I didn't know it was going to be an article that I headlined. I thought I was commenting for someone else's story, that the fans, if this club is to go far beyond where they've ever gone before, that it would be very good if they would make their presence known and make it a little uncomfortable on the opposition. I said they need to get more involved. And I did in a very positive way, and people understood it, and there has been a lot of positive response.
There was no response more positive than the one Cito Gaston got every time he summoned his 2 aces from the bullpen. Dwayne Ward was outstanding as the setup man, at one point tossing 21 shutout innings. And like clockwork, when Ward was through, on came Tom Henke. Between them, 10 wins and 46 saves. And from July 24th on, not one blown save. While the bullpen was cooking, Toronto was having a September to remember. For starters, Kelly Gruber found a way to get back into the good graces of Blue Jay fans.
They're really getting on Mr. Gruber. He wants to show them. You know he'd love to belt one right here. Line drive, left field. Back goes Tim Raines. Back to the track. Grand slam. Home run. That'll show him.
In a series against the Twins, Joe Carter reached a pair of familiar jackpot totals. In the first game, he became a 4-time 30 home run man. And in the next game, hit this total for the 6th time.
He drives out into center field. Here comes Kirby. Can't get to it. 1 run will score. RBI number 100 for Carter. Year after year, 100 or more for this man. He's done it again.
John Olerud would end up with 16 homers, but none was bigger than this 10th inning shot.
And John Olerud comes to the plate with a winning run aboard.
He's hit 4 home runs against the Indians this year, 6 in his career.
Swings at the first pitch, high fly ball, way back and gone. Home run, John Olerud. The Blue Jays win it 7-5. The 15th home run of the season for John Olerud.
But as well as the Blue Jays were playing in September, they were having trouble figuring out how to shake their Eastern Division rivals, the Orioles, who'd been dogging them all season long with great defense.
There goes Curtis. Line drive to third. Gomez steps on the bag. Throws to first. A triple play. 1 ball, no strikes. A line drive. Cal Ripken has it. The Orioles win.
On September 22nd, with the Orioles 4.5 games back, the 2 teams met for a critical 3-game series in Baltimore. The Blue Jays were greeted by a rainstorm that held up the start of the game. But determined not to get swept, they opened up their own deluge in the first inning.
A 2-hour and 42-minute delay before the start of this game, underway at about 10:15 Eastern Time. Devon White steps in, the leadoff man for the Blue Jays, and finally this game is about to begin. High fly ball right field. Way back, and it's off the top of the wall and gone. It's a home run for Devon White. A leadoff home run, and the Jays are up 1-0.
His mates gave Todd Stottlemyre 3 more runs to work with. And although the Orioles turned it into a squeaker, the Blue Jays held on to win. After losing Closing the next night, the old veteran Dave Winfield took matters into his own hands in the first inning.
3-1, hammered by Winfield. That's back, way back, no doubt about it. Gone. Home run, Dave Winfield.
That drives in 100 and 101 for Dave Winfield. First time a 40-year-old big leaguer has done that.
Winfield's 3 hits and 4 RBIs pretty much knocked the Orioles out at last.
Nice snag by John Olerud, and that's the ball game. The Blue Jays have defeated the Orioles 8-2 and stay 3.5 up on that team from Milwaukee that refuses to lose.
That team from Milwaukee had been quietly and persistently coming on. And in September, there was no stopping the Brewers. They were in the midst of winning 20 of 27 games, and it seemed as if everything was going their way.
High pop fly in the infield. Seitzer has the easier play, but Nielsen wants it. He dropped it, and Seitzer caught it.
The Brewers were catching everything, but so far, they hadn't yet caught Toronto. Meanwhile, strange things were happening to the Blue Jays and Jack Morris, who wouldn't let a downpour in Yankee Stadium wipe out their 9-0 lead. And so in the 5th inning, went to their hurry-up offense to make the game official.
There's one swing. To be very quickly followed by another. Strike 2, 1 and 2. Well, that is one of the strangest strikeouts you will ever see.
The game was finally held up for 2 hours, but after the rain delay, a gutsy Jack Morris completed his mission and became the first Blue Jay ever to win 20 games. Now with a week to play and Toronto's lead at 2.5, the pennant race came down to the Blue Jays and the Brewers going at it from a distance.
Mattingly, shallow left, Maldonado with a catch in the rain.
Should do it. The force on Ambrosius ends the ball game. The Brewers win their 17th in 23 games here in September to keep the heat on the Toronto Blue Jays.
This is lashed into right field, but there is Winfield to reach and make a fine catch. Supreme effort, and the crowd rises to acknowledge it.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. And a fly ball hit to shallow left field. Calling for it is Listash, and Listash makes the catch. And Milwaukee has inched closer to the Blue Jays. 2.5 games. Toronto lead over Milwaukee, 2 in the loss column, and it's getting close. Here's the 1-2. Hinkie to Plantier. Fly ball to left. And the magic number is 3.
Line drive into left field. Vaughn makes the catch. The ball game is over, and the Brewers win it. They're 2 games out with 3 to play, and we go to Oakland still in it.
While Milwaukee was in Oakland, the Blue Jays were home against their old rivals, the Detroit Tigers. Though Toronto was closing in, the Tigers were not going to make this easy. They scored off Jack Morris in the first, but the Jays came back and back and back.
Looking and saying goodbye. It's near a 2-run homer for Roberto Alomar. 2-1 Toronto. That's hit pretty well right here. And Netherland leaves the yard. 4-1 for Toronto. That's launched, and you can kiss it goodbye. The 3rd home run of the night. The Jays are bombing Gullickson. 5-1.
Unfortunately, Cito wasn't laughing long. Both teams kept scoring, and going into the 8th, Toronto had a precarious 1-run lead. So on came Ward for his usual 1 inning of perfection. Then Hinkie to wrap it up.
Got it. The Jays are good for at least a share of the AL East. The magic number is 1, and now that may well be in the hands of the Oakland Athletics.
With Milwaukee's game against the A's just getting underway out west, the Blue Jays had an anxious night ahead. Watching first from the locker room.
Breaking ball away, and it is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
1-1. Yeah.
second inning.
Then from a local Toronto restaurant.
Pitch to Wilson in the air, center field. Robin out, broke late, comes on.
It was obvious the Blue Jays were not going to clinch tonight, not with the Brewers hanging tough.
Swing and a miss, and Phil Garner's Milwaukee Brewers remain alive in the American League East.
Well, the game's on the line. Those are your money players. He came through with a big catch. Those things happen, but, destiny's still in our hand.
The next day, October 3rd, clinch was on everybody's minds. And the Blue Jays wasted no time getting to the Tigers early. In the first inning, Joe Carter took destiny into his own hands.
1-0 pitch. High ball, center field. Phillips going back, running out of room. Home run, Joe Carter. Number 34 for Carter, and a kick start for the Blue Jays. 2-0 Toronto.
Pitching a nearly perfect 8 innings in which he gave up 1 hit, Juan Guzman wasn't about to let Detroit spoil Toronto's fun.
That's all for the Tigers in the 5th. He teased them by opening the door just a little, and then he just slapped it on their foot.
With a 3-1 lead, the Blue Jays would finally get the last laugh. But with Henke unable to finish, Dwayne Ward got the call. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
The Toronto Blue Jays are 1 out away from the American League East title in 1992. There's a pop-up. All the road is under it. And the Toronto Blue Jays are the American League East champions in 1992.
For the Blue Jays, their 4th division title in 7 years. And 2 more clinches to go.
I know that we want to go as far as we can, and that's to win the World Series. But it is tough to win a division, especially this division. I think it was a little bit underrated this year. It's a tough division.
I'm a little reserved right now because I know that our job is not finished. We set out at the season, beginning of the season, to do 3 things, and we've accomplished 1 of them. We have 2 more to go, and bring on Oakland because we're playing good baseball right now, and we feel very confident.
But first, the Blue Jays wanted to thank their fans. Once again, over 4 million. Only this was no ordinary fan appreciation day. Not when Derek Bell was jolted out of the dugout by a teammate's prank that shocked the daylights out of him.
Joe Carter giving away Derek Bell's Jeep. The winning ticket number is section 123. Congratulations.
Crowd getting a large laugh at the expense of Derek Bell here this afternoon. Out came this vehicle. Now here's Derek Bell. He recognizes the vehicle. That's mine. And Carter and Winfield are inside. And on Fan Appreciation Day, they drew a seat. Derek, his mouth open in disbelief. And they gave his vehicle away.
It turned out all right. Bell survived the shock and got his car back. As for the Blue Jays and their fans, they had a good laugh before getting down to the business of taking on the Oakland A's.
Skydome, the site of Game 1 of the 1992 American League Championship Series, which right now is about 40 minutes away. A first pitch at 8:26 tonight. It'll be Jack Morris, the ace of the Blue Jays staff, going up against Dave Stewart, a man who has never lost in the playoffs.
Let's go Blue Jays!
We played some really big series against Baltimore and Milwaukee down the stretch, 4-game series, and won some big games. I think that's prepared us for the playoffs and World Series this year. I think everybody is as relaxed as I've ever seen them. We're going out there, we are focused, we know what we need to do to win, and we just have to go out and execute.
The big story and the compelling story really is the quest of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Anything short of the World Series here will not be satisfying, but good news for the Toronto Blue Jay fans. I think they have by far their strongest team and their best chance to get to the World Series.
And Jack Morris, has he ever been here before? And a breaking
breaking ball hit deep to right field.
I regret a couple poor pitches. Bottom line is they won.
So the A's won, and now the pressure is on the shoulders of the Blue Jays. David Cone, who was acquired from the Mets on August 28th for the express purpose of pitching them into the World Series, and this is the game that they got him to pitch and to win. And a drive hit deep to left field by Gruber, way back, it's gone, a home run. And the Jays lead it 2-0.
He is a hero, too. He's getting dogged all year. And now he's a hero.
Toronto is getting contributions from the entire batting order, at least through the first 7 innings of the 3rd game of the series, something, as we said, they didn't get last year. Trying to get one here to give the Jays an insurance run, and it's passed. Mark McGuire down the right field line. Olerud will score, and they're going to wave in Borders and Manny Lee on at 3rd with a triple.
You need night guys to win a series, and that's what we're trying to do. Today, Manuel Lee, Candy Maldonado, and 2 nights before was Kelly Gruber. So we're putting the pressure on them because we're still ahead. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
So if he gets hit, you ain't got to worry about it. You trust his chef. That's who you trust.
The Blue Jays have not rallied to come from behind many times this year, and the A's have also protected leads extremely well. Runner at 3rd base. Alomar represents the tying run at the plate. And a drive hit to right field. Sierra going back, looking up, and this game is tied. Roberto Alomar, with his 2nd home run in as many days, has tied the game.
The key hit, obviously, was Robbie's home run, but the rally in the inning before that, and I think Eckersley's little league gesture to us really inspired the boys. You know, he wheeled and swore and looked at us and all that crap that you do when you're a little league kid, and it came back to haunt him today, and we couldn't be happier.
Playing against the A's at home and coming from behind like that against their best, you know, it really is special. You know, it gives some hope that, you know, we're very close to the goal that we want to accomplish.
Come on, do it, all right?
Today.
Good luck, baby.
You're in TV now, huh?
No, that's not rolling.
Señora. A ver si hoy pues.
Me tienen a mí de cargabate, por Alfredo, me cago en 10.
The Blue Jays are a team on a mission tonight because the Blue Jays are just that one elusive step away from going to their very first World Series. They lead the Oakland Athletics by a 3-2 margin. A victory today will put them into the World Series against either the Atlanta Braves or the Pittsburgh Pirates.
When this series started and people said it just may be Toronto's year, it just may be Toronto's year. High fly ball toward the line and left, calling for it is Maldonado, and the Blue Jays have finally won the pennant.
We always had the confidence we were going to win it. You're not going to boast, you're not going to talk stuff, you're not going to, give them something to pin up in their locker room. We just wanted to go out there professionally and go after them every day.
This has been a goal of the whole country, like you said. Everybody's rallied around us. We can all relish this thing together, and that's the way it should be.
We had 3 goals in mind. 1 was to win the division, 2 was to win the LCS, and now the 3rd was to win the World Series. We've accomplished 2 of those, and we've still got 1 more thing to accomplish.
The dream was coming true. The Blue Jays were going to the World Series. And so, proudly representing the country of Canada, the Blue Jays headed to Atlanta for the first ever Global World Series. Tom Glavine opened the series with a 4-hitter. But 2 outs from victory in Game 2, Atlanta got a jolt from the Jays.
Braves trying to take a 2-0 advantage in the 1992 World Series. And now Ed Sprague to bat for the pitcher Ward. He was 1 for 2 in the league championship series against Oakland. Well hit to left field. To the wall, Deion Sanders. Home run, Ed Sprague. Off the
bench with a pinch hit 2-run homer off Jeff Reardon to give the Toronto Blue Jays a 5-4 lead.
I was just fortunate enough to be in that situation and come through. I didn't think about, hey, I'm a hero or this or that or whatever. I didn't think anything of that. I was just thinking, we got the lead and we got a chance to win a game and go back to Toronto, even up.
But first, in a gesture of goodwill, the U.S. Marine Corps color guard wanted to make amends for accidentally flying the Canadian flag upside down before Game 2.
To correct this unfortunate error and show their true respect for the Canadian people, the Marine Corps has requested the privilege of again carrying the national flag of Canada.
Time now for the first World Series game ever in Canada.
They love you here.
In Game 3, it was anything but love that Kelly Gruber was feeling when his 8th-inning error cost Juan Guzman a run. But in the last of the 8th, Gruber atoned.
Well hit down the left field line. Sanders watching it go. Home run, Kelly Gruber.
Gruber tied it, and in the bottom of the 9th, Candy Maldonado sealed it.
And Maldonado takes an 0-2 pitch to deep center to win the ball game. On an 0-2 pitch, driving in Alomar with the winning run. Toronto takes Game 3, 3-2.
Game 4 belonged to the odd man out, Jimmy Key. In his first postseason start of the year, Key was nothing short of magnificent.
Key, a longtime Blue Jay and one of their most popular players, and already they're on their feet for Jimmy Key.
But with the championship on ice, Lonnie Smith's grand slam in Game 5 dashed any hopes of clinching in Canada.
And the Atlanta Braves will head home for Game 6.
In Atlanta, the Blue Jays came out swinging early. With their cheering section making plenty of noise, a Dave Justice error in the first inning brought home Devon White with a 1-0 lead. The Braves tied it, and in the 4th, Candy Maldonado untied it with a leadoff homer. Neither team could manage another run as the game turned into a tense, hard-fought affair. It all came down to the bottom of the 9th. Blue Jays up 2-1 and victory in their grasp.
The Blue Jays 1 strike away from the World Championship. The 0-2 pitch. Slap to the left side, a hit. Buzzer's being waved in. Maldonado's throw is over everything. It's a tie ball game.
But this Blue Jay team would not give up. 11th inning, 2 outs. They found a Mr. October in Dave Winfield.
The runners go on the 3-2 to Winfield. Down the line, a base hit. Into the left field corner. White has scored. Alomar comes around. The ball gets away from Gant. It's a 2-run double for Dave Winfield. And a 4-2 Toronto lead.
But it wasn't over yet. Not when the Braves rallied in their half of the 11th.
The tying run at third and 2 down in the bottom of the 11th. 4-3 Blue Jays. Timlin. Nixon bunts. Timlin on it. Throws to first. For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border. The Toronto Blue Jays are baseball's best in 1992.
And 46,000 fans at Skydome were there to share the ecstasy. For a team that had come close 3 times before, the burden of history had finally been lifted.
That's my save. That's my World Series save. All right, man. Hey, where the bounce on that mound, man? Where the bounce off it, man? Hey, baby. You told me. Better take your time. He's gonna do that. You gotta get it here and take it. Woo! Come on, Waldo. That was easy. It's like a dream come true. That's all it is. I mean, to see everybody fight as hard as they fought all year long, and to get in this situation and to come out, on top, I mean, on top of a team that just wouldn't quit in the Atlanta Braves. I mean, they fought as hard as they could, and so did we. And I'll tell you what, it's just a nice feeling to come out on top of these people. in Toronto history, I'm always going to be there because that last out will always be shown. I didn't want to give the ball up, but Timlin begged me for it, so I said, hey, you did a hell of a job. He filled that bunt. You know, I told him that Otis may be bunting. To be aware, he went up there and made a great play. And, you know, hey, what more can you say? We did our job. It was 3 for 3 in 92. We won all 3 things that we set our goals for.
Yes, man. Hey, Jack, man. Man, that's all right. It's been a pleasure playing with you, man. An old pro. We put so much energy into this all year, so much focus, intensity. But I know what it feels like. It finally pays off. It's been a long time. There's been a lot of adversity, a lot of difficulties, a lot of good times. But to be on the best team in baseball, in Major League Baseball, that's a thrill. Man.
It was one of the key reasons we're here, and having him get the big hit to put us ahead in the 10th inning, how appropriate. The guy deserves it. I mean, it's wonderful. It's a world championship ring for a guy who's persevered so long, so hard. He deserves every minute of it.
I'm in a cloud right now. It probably won't soak in on me for a couple of days, but it's a good feeling right now anyway. Thank goodness it's all over.
But for series MVP Pat Borders and the rest of the Blue Jays, it wasn't officially over until they came home to share it with all their fans, nearly 500,000 of whom poured onto the streets of Toronto to honor a proud moment for Canada. And what could be sweeter? After 16 seasons of building a winner, the Blue Jays were world champions.
I had a wonderful year with the boys, with the city, with the fans. All I want to say is thank you all. You all deserve it. God bless you. And like they're talking now, gotta do it again. See you then.
Although it may be true that people on this stage are either American or Latin American, we still feel the pride of Canada. We see the flags. You don't have to be Canadian to feel that pride. Don't ever change. Thank you very much.
You people follow instructions well, because halfway through the season, Mr. Winfield said he wants noise, and I tell you what, you've been giving him noise ever since then. You got this town pumped up, and more than not, you got this team pumped up, because I tell you what, these guys came ready to play every single day. We did it. We're world champions. We're all number 1. Thank you.
Let's hear noise. Winfield wants noise. All right. I want to thank everybody. This has been beautiful. We hope to do it again, but I'll leave you with one last thing. If you'll all turn around, right above the Jumbotron, unveil